Here at Burnley's training ground and joined by another two Irish internationals, Stephen Ward and Jeff Hendrick. Lads, thanks for joining me.
No problem.
So the start of this season, realistically, after finishing what you did last year, 40 points, you were third favourites for relegation. What was the objection this year?
I suppose like it is every year. Yeah, I think a lot of people know about the gaffer. He's very straight talking, and he said to us at the end of the season, obviously the goal next year is just to improve on what we've done. So I think staying up's always your first priority in this league, but to go the way it has, and I suppose to be in the position we are at this stage of the season is something that we couldn't have really dreamt of, and it's important we finish strong because it's not very often that you get in these positions.
Jeff, you've literally touching distance away from playing in Europe next season for the first time. I think it's 52 years since they played in the Fairs Cup. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it'd be incredible, especially when you look at some of the results we've got this year. We deserve to be in the position we are in with the backing of the fans, home and away. They've been brilliant. Their expectations haven't been too high as well. So, to give that back to them and get them to travel away in Europe and support us in European football would be brilliant.
I've seen you a lot of this over the last 2 years. I think last year you were a little bit more safe and secure about how you played. This year, I don't think he's about the plaudits that you deserve in terms of the style. Probably after the start, in terms of getting that good start against the bigger teams, the football you're playing this season, I think is unbelievable. I think it's really evolved. Would that something you'd be agree with?
Yeah, from my point of view, obviously it's my fourth season here, and I think, yeah, you're right. I think predominantly when I came in, we were a 4-4-2 side. Got the ball forward quickly, and I think the manager's obviously said it himself. I think that the club's evolved, the squad has evolved, and obviously we've brought in players like Jeff, Robbie, Aaron Lennon, Johan, lads who can unlock defences and score goals from midfield. Along with strikers that we've brought in, I think it's given us different dimensions, and I think you've seen that in our play this year. We've obviously played in various different formations, whether it's a three in the middle, two up top, one off a striker. So it's added definitely to our game as a squad, as a team, and it's one of the key factors I think that we've pushed on and gone to sort of new heights.
You would have broke through at Derby, and I've said about you before that I think you had a really good education in football in terms of Nigel Clough giving you kind of the nuts and bolts of playing central midfield, and then maybe you've got a little bit more education in terms of on the ball and movements with Steve McLaren. How does your role differ here? Because a lot of this season you've played as that advanced midfield, and we've seen you playing that for Ireland as well. Is that something that you like playing, or would you prefer to be more in terms of the centre of the pitch?
Yeah, some games I enjoy it. It gives you a chance to get forward more, get into the opposition penalty box. But for me, I'd rather be a little bit deeper, where I can, drive with the ball and at times set plays up and get on the ball a bit more. It is difficult at times in this league, especially. We're playing against some good opposition who can keep the ball. So, a lot of the time I'm chasing. I'm getting back in to help out the midfield. Then I have to get up and help the forward with, at times, a long ball into them, and just to take the pressure off the defence. And I can find myself doing that for a lot of the game. But then when the lads are getting on the ball and getting it down, moving side to side a bit more forward and can find me in the gaps, it is really enjoyable. But for me, it's still sort of learning the role, when I should play a bit more higher or when I should drop in and get on the ball a bit more. Naturally, it's happening in some games. It's just worked out better for me. But like I said, it is something that I do need to keep working on.
Do you feel like teams are giving you more respect now this season?
Yeah, a little bit. Especially with what we done early in the season, beating the big teams, taking points off them. But I think now that they're looking back at games and seeing the way we can play, it's like in certain games teams will sit off us, and we're fine keeping the ball now. Maybe a bit last year near the start of even when I was here, we would get the ball forward a little bit more. Now we've got a lot of players who are calm, relaxed, and and they don't mind keeping it. And then if teams come and press us and the space in between the lines or in behind, we won't turn that down, that opportunity either. So we've got a few different ways of playing, and we've got a lot of smart players who can cop on to what teams are trying to do against us.
I had down there Sam Allardyce when we were at Blackburn, started off ridiculously direct, and at times it felt quite frustrating as a player that he doesn't really trust us. Maybe at times under Trap as well was the same in terms of I feel like we can play a little bit more. Watching you this season, you're right. I felt last year you'd get to a certain stage and it'd be you've got to finish with a cross, you've got to finish with something because you're wary of the counter. Whereas now, like you've said, centre half dropping out, go back to go forward. It must be enjoyable to play.
Yeah, it is. I think initially when I came in, it was probably more difficult for the likes of Jeff and midfielders who want to get on the ball, want to play. At the end of the day, as a fullback, if you're in trouble, you turn one in behind and you're hoping your strikers run in and get hold of it for you. So yeah, there is a different dimension now. I think obviously bringing in the recruitment side, Jeff, obviously Stephen Defoe's come in, Ashley Westwood, Jack Cork, Robbie. As I said, these players want to get on the ball, and I think it's sort of forced us to play in a different way. I think the manager's seen that obviously in training and in the early parts of this season especially, and probably later on of the back end of last season. So it's definitely given us a different dimension. It's an enjoyable team to play in because as you say, we can mix it both ways. We're good on the ball, we can create chances, but also we still have that side of us where if we need to dig in, even the lads who want to do the pretty stuff are more than capable and willing to do it. So there's definitely been a change, and I think especially since I've been here, the way the squad's evolved, there's probably 2 quality players now for every position, which we didn't really have at the start, and we were working on such a smaller squad, and probably had to play to our strengths a little bit more so than we do here. We can control and manage a game a bit better, which has served us really, really well this year.
Spoke about your style in terms of the team, the way it's evolved. The most stylish team in the league is probably Manchester City. How difficult are they to play against in terms of the way you set up and the individuals that they have, especially in midfield with the likes of De Bruyne and Silva?
Definitely you take this.
Yeah, it is difficult. We played them, was it September, October?
Yeah, I think it was early, yeah.
3-0, and I remember coming off the pitch thinking, I don't think anyone will take points off them this year. They were that good. And then a few months...
We actually thought we'd done alright, didn't we?
Yeah, 3-0 was impressive because they were beating teams 5-6-0 at that stage. So we thought by far they were the best team we'd played. Well, for me, it was the best team I'd ever played in the Premier League. But then, as a few months went on, our style of play got better. We got more confidence, and we played them in the Cup then, just after Christmas, and we sat off them at the Etihad again. And we sat off, and we made it difficult. We actually went 1-0 up. Then a mad sort of 5 minutes to get the 2 goals, and the game's nearly over. So we sort of learned that can frustrate them, and then when it came into the home game, we sat off to a certain point, and it makes them sort of force passes, and once we were all thinking the same way, there's chances where you can nick the ball, and don't get me wrong, they could have been 2 or 3 up by the time we scored, but I think that was one thing we found out. You can't frustrate them if everyone's willing to do the hard work and be on the same wavelength. And but
has De Bruyne been the one for you playing in that position? Like I look at how I try and deal with them, and it has to come from obviously the team and the way the team sets up. But in terms of De Bruyne picking up those spaces, and if you allow him too much time and space, like we were chatting to Longy here before, you just can't give him time and space.
Yeah.
There's a knock-on effect, obviously, where you can't give Silva enough.
That's what I was going to say. It's the 2 of them. The Fernandinho, who does an unbelievable job sitting in there for them, and he can pass through the lines as well. And the 2 lads, De Bruyne and Silva, are on each side of your shoulder in behind in that little bit pocket of space where the defenders don't want to come into, where you can't sort of sit on their lap really. You've got to put pressure on the ball as well, and if you cut off the pass to them, it's wrapped into the striker, and they're on their bikes getting off them straight away, and then you've got wide players making runs, and when they're playing well, it's so hard to stop. And like you said, Kevin De Bruyne, I think he's got every tool there is. He can shoot with both feet, he can pass with both feet, he's powerful running with the ball. His touch is brilliant. So he's had a great year.
What about wide man, Morty? He faced Mahrez on Saturday, he certainly rejuvenated under the new manager. What was he like as in terms of prospect, in terms of January this year? Would he be up there in terms of the toughest you faced?
I think just as a player, I think not only when you play against him, I think you watch what he does. For me, he's more than capable of playing in the top four and one of the big sides. He just constantly, gives you different problems to try solve. Whether he's coming inside, he's going outside, he's trying to play Vardy in over the top. He's taking players on. It's difficult. It's obviously enjoyable to play against these players, but you've always got your work cut out. And I think, like Jeff said, I think looking at the wide men at Man City have obviously been outstanding this season. But there's times when you play against Man City, it's a strange feeling, because you actually, at times in the game, there's no one to mark, and you think, well, I'm in my position, but there's no one around. It's just that constant movement and popping up in different areas, dropping in between where midfielders can't really, like sit on them and we can't come in. So I think every week you face these challenges. Obviously, you play against teams now that play wing backs, and that's another challenge, because you tend to have a wide man up top who coming inside, and you're also aware that the wing back's trying to get forward. So I think what we've done well this year is against these teams and these types of players, we've tried to, make sure our performance in our game causes them problems as well. And as I say, thankfully we've done that very well this year.
In terms of not always making it about the opposition, in terms of we're in this as well, in terms of what we can put on them. And you mentioned about earlier in the season they were that good 3-0, but then you draw with them at Burnley, Man City. Is he good in terms of that? Because I've had managers where I've gone in to play the top teams, and I'm thinking
that focused on them.
He doesn't even believe in us. So what?
Yeah. No, to be honest, he's he believes he can beat anyone really. I remember the 3-0 game at City. He was really disappointed with our performance, although they were very good. And second half he felt we were 1-0 down at half time. He felt we didn't sort of grab the game by the scruff of the neck and really go for it. And whether it was that they were too good or we just didn't perform, he sort of looks at every game as if we can win, which is a massive positive, I think.
Like we watch, obviously before every game we have clips on them, we watch them, but then when it's coming into game day, he knows that we've done our homework on them, and then a phrase he tells us is give them the lot. He tells us to play our own way, and that's what we need to do in games, because there's only so much you can think about the opposition. You've got to go out and play your own game, and that's what we try and do.
Moving on to Ireland, it's 5 months now since the exit against Denmark. How does that sit with you now? Is there still? I remember going back to the Henry handball when we missed out in 2010. Couldn't watch the World Cup. Wasn't interested in the World Cup. It sat that badly with me. How is it now? 5 months on, is it softened a little bit, or is there still anger, disappointment?
I think there's a tint of everything really. I suppose anything that could have gone wrong in the game for us went wrong, and we done so well to get a point away from home. I thought you just think everything's, you're hoping everything goes in your favour, and for whatever reason it didn't. And listen, we're bitterly disappointed. We had a really good campaign, and to end as it did, it's obviously really tough to take. But there's one thing with, as with Irish lads and the squad, we're still, very proud to represent our country, and we'll do everything we can in the next campaign to make it right.
Remember after that campaign we had, and we went towards 2012, there seemed to be a kind of, I don't know what it was, but it brought us closer together because from the disappointment. You sense that? I know you've only been together once for that Turkey game, but a little bit of a transitional period coming up, and the opportunity in the summer, a few friendlies. Do you feel like it's going to make you stronger as a group?
I think it can, because the players who are there in that qualifying group, and especially in the 2 games against Denmark, hopefully that anger and disappointment can spur them on and make us hungry to qualify. And then you have any new lad who comes in will be hungry to make an impression on the squad and get into the starting team. So it could be a good mix together. I know it'll take a couple of games to get everyone to gel a bit. So it is exciting times with some new faces coming in. I don't think we've had that for a few years, so it'll be good to see how we get on.
You both have very different paths in terms of your careers. You've had a traditional apprenticeship at Derby, whereas you've gone League of Ireland route, Bows to Wolves. I constantly say to young lads that there's no set formula. I think your career is like a game of snakes and ladders. Would either of you change anything about the route that you went?
I wouldn't know. I think obviously it might be different for Jeff. He was probably in a different position than I was when I was his age. He was, probably the top, in the top 2 players in the whole country. Probably him and Robbie vying for that. Him and Robbie vying for it. They tell me in the car all the time he was better. But no, for me, I think, listen, I went away on trial and the usual. But for me, I think staying at home and learning my education at Bowes was massive for me, because I don't know how I would have reacted coming to sort of an academy, trying to go on loan, trying to being away from home, trying to go on loan. And when I signed for Wolves, I played men's football. I felt mature enough to go over there and deal with everything that the championship and sort of the exposure gave to you. So for me, it was definitely the right path. But as you say, it's different for everyone, and I think if you make it to where you want to go, whatever path you've been on is going to be the best one for you.
What about you, Jeff?
I'm going to say the same. I wouldn't change anything. It got to a stage where I'd been on enough trials and away enough times where, don't get me wrong, I sometimes hated going on trials, being away for 4, 5, 6 days. But when it came to the stage, I'd sat down and signed with Derby, and I was just looking forward to getting away that much that I didn't even get homesick at the start. Nothing at all. My parents would give out to me at times for not calling or texting enough. I was just looking forward to getting away in with the lads, getting to know them and training every day, and I was loving it. I was lucky as well. There was 5 of us the same age from Ireland, so that definitely helped me settle in. But just getting in training, I got a lot fitter at times, from the age of 13 to 16 or whatever. I wasn't the fittest of players, but that gave me a different side to my game. I was able to go box to box. I was learning that, and I had a good coach at the time, and I felt like I really improved very quickly in my first few years, and I could see the differences, and I loved it. Within about 8-9 months, as I got to train with the first team a few times, so I got to see how the professionals were doing it, and then that made me even more hungry, and I never had to go on loan. There was talks of going on loan once or twice, but Nigel Clough had the belief in me as well, which was maybe gave me a bit more confidence as well, and I got a few subbed appearances with Derby.
Did he give you a good apprenticeship? Because I remember playing against you when you were very young. That energy, that aggression. Then I played against you on the Steve McLaren's team at Derby. I was thinking, wow, you really kicked on here.
Yeah, I was still young, I was still learning under Nigel Clough. He put me into the team and had me playing every week, where I think it was his sort of view is I'll learn as I play more. So I played a lot of games. Then when Steve McLaren came in, it was a different style of football. He had me playing in a little bit of a different position. And he made me think about my game more and stuff like that. So I did learn from both of them. I enjoyed my times under both of them, but maybe under Steve McLaren a little bit more. I learned about football, the football side of it, and it got me thinking, and I definitely think I improved under him.
There's rumours going around that you squat at Jeff's house quite a bit during the week.
I look after him, I do, yeah.
Who's the best cook?
100% Jeff.
Is he?
To be honest, he looks after me really well.
Wardy's the best cleaner.
I'm not too bad at cleaning and hoovering, but definitely the best cook.
Just like being at home for you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I actually get a break from cooking coming up to Jeff's, but no, it's great. Obviously, I'm away from my home, and the sort of younger man looks after the older man, so it's nice to get my feet up. And
I walked in here this morning, right? I swear to God, it felt like a bit of a throwback. Been in training grounds around the last few years, and some of them could be quite pretentious a little bit, considering where you are in the league. I felt like I was walking into a championship dressing room because of not one ego I've come across in the hour of being here. It must be just nice to come into every day, this place.
It's brilliant,
It's brilliant, yeah.
Everyone sort of gets on, bounces off each other. We all enjoy going out to train, to work hard. There's a bit of banter before or after, and it is definitely an easy environment to come into. I found it that way when I came last year, and when I talk to any player who's come in the last year or so, they say the same.
Listen, I won't keep you any longer. You got to go train. I appreciate you taking the time.